I'm very, very pleased to now invite up onto the stage Stuart, who's the director at Rainsbrook Secure Training Centre, and Marlon, who is a youth mentor. Thank you.
So yeah, as Geeta just said, my name's Stuart Jessup. I work for MTC Novo, and since March this year, I've been the director at Rainsbrook Secure Training Centre.
My name's Marlon, and I'm the resettlement youth mentor there.
Is that mic working? Go again.
My name's Marlon, and I'm the resettlement youth mentor.
So today's interview, I'm going to be discussing with Marlon about what his role is at Rainsbrook and the journey that Marlon's taken to gain employment in the youth custody. So, Marlon, can you just tell me a little bit about your roles and responsibility?
So, as I said, I'm a mentor there. Basically, I support the young people, hopefully back into education when they're not going into education, or they just stick on the units and don't want to participate in any education. Also, when they first come into custody, I can relate to them because I've actually served time myself there. Also, when they're dealing with stuff from the outside and on the inside, because I've been through quite a lot of what the young people have been going through, really. Also, I set up a youth council within the centre because the youth were saying their voice ain't getting heard within there. So I set that up, and it's youth-led, and I facilitate it, and that's has one young person off each unit to represent all the units across site, and also intervention works. I do intervention work, but also enrichment work, and get guest speakers to come into the centre.
So you just mentioned then around the youth council. So can you give me some examples of what the youth council have been involved in, the decisions they've been making?
Yeah, so they come with all sorts of questions, good things, bad things. They want to ask them all different departments sort of questions. So there's one I can think of right now is the rewards and sanctions, and they wanted to basically have their input about what rewards they get within the centre, and so basically so it's good for them. But also what come out of that, they were saying that the sanctions weren't harsh enough, so they had a little bit of input into that as well, so that was a good thing.
And what other decisions have they made about their environment?
Oh yeah, so the environment, so basically the units are a bit bland, cream, and not nice. They've got to live on there all day long, well, most all the time while they're there. So they wanted to decorate the units and paint them to a colour that for themselves, like the boys and the girls. So that's ongoing now. That started last week, and that should be finished by the new year. So that's their input in that.
And then you've mentioned around getting guest speakers into the centre. So can you give me some examples of some guest speakers and why it was so important?
So we've had one lady come in, her name was Alison Cope. Her son was a rapper, but he got murdered. He also did come and spend some time at our estate. And basically she talks to young people about knife crime and the effects it had on her, but also the effects it has on other people's parents that have been stabbed, or also the young people. And then also we've had street doctors, they're called. They talk around knife crime and stuff like that. So if a young person gets stabbed or is unconscious and that, they show them what to do and stuff like that. And once they do finish that, they do get an accredited certificate, so that's good for them when they leave.
And then you've just mentioned around enrichment. Now, I know enrichment's not necessarily part of your role, but can you tell me why you sort of took the lead on some of the enrichments in support with Novus and why that's important?
For me personally, like growing up, like the fun was sucked out of my life. So when I see the young people come in, it basically they're just kind of, coming from gangs or just coming from abusive families, and just their lives are just like they've had to grow up fast, and they're only young. So I wanted to see them have fun. So basically, not long ago, I set up a big sports fun day, it was called, and loads of inflatables, and it was just nice to see the kids going around them, jumping like these, like they want to call them gang members, or these kids that are just so grumpy, having fun and smiling, and that was just amazing, you know. I think it's important for kids to be kids.
Absolutely. So, so why did you choose a career in youth custody, and what's your background, what's your story, Marlon?
So basically, my mum was a prostitute and she was an alcoholic, and I got abused physically abused as a kid, and so did my brother. My sister did get sexually abused and she ended up taking her life at the age of 23. But, you know, with all that abuse and that, I was just like, you know what, I'm sick of it. So I started hanging around with the lads around my area, the older lads and that. And what come with that was started drinking, smoking pot, and then started doing petty crime and stuff like that. And that like just spiraled on through school, and that I didn't care about school, kept getting kicked out of school, and then I left school, and like, I was going through like the attendance centres and stuff like that, and then I went to prison for the first time. I was 17, and then basically from then I spent like, I think if I added everything up, I spent about 8 years behind the door in you know wire-wise, and then the adult section. And then life just got kind of crazy after that, really. It just got even worse, like, you know, the drugs, the crime. That was just my life. I knew no different. And then, you know, I was just in and out of prison. And then the last 10 years of my life, I started smoking crack. And that just took over my life. You know, I became a right crackhead. And then I started injecting heroin and stuff. And my life was just a mess, you know.
So thank you for sharing that, Marlon. So obviously during your younger days and through your youth, you've obviously encountered a significant amount of trauma. And was you aware of the service available to you at the time, and was you able to access them?
I think the services were there, not as much as they are quite now, like that thing, but they were there. But you know, I didn't fully like it. It's like Harley said earlier. I didn't fully understand them myself. You know, I didn't get it, and I didn't have the people. I didn't have the trust, because like, back then, you just go from pillar to pillar. Lots of other people have been saying as well, like, you know, you go this person, that person, and you can't build no trust up, so you just think, forget that. So I just left it and just did my own thing.
So what was it that changed for you? What was that moment?
So basically, I went into prison for the last time in January 07, into HMP Strangeways, where it's in Manchester now. And while I was there, amazing woman, that she was my drug worker, the only person that I trusted at that time. Like, she had my back, and she shouldn't have, because I robbed handbags and everything from the drug places, but she just kept trusting in me and just believing in me. And then she got me into a rehab, and like, it was a Christian one at the time. I was like, no, I don't want to go to no Christian rehab, they're kind of crazy. But I am a Christian today, don't get me wrong. But you know, but at that time, so I just thought about it, and like, I had a lot of time to think, you know, 10 minutes to think, like, and you know, like I said, I lost my sister, I lost my nan, I lost my granddad, I lost my auntie, I lost my friends, I lost a lot of people around me, and I overdosed a few times, and lost my own life. So I just thought, yeah, why not just go there? And so they released me from Strangeways, and I got picked up by the rehab, and ended up going into the rehab. And whilst I was in the rehab, I found my faith, but I also found myself, and started understanding me, and understanding that all that stuff there, and all the stuff I was running from a little kid, and all the trauma, the abuse, it ain't gonna hurt me, you know. I just got to deal with it, and I just figured out how to deal with it, and just, you know, started facing stuff, and that's when my life started to change.
And so, I mean, and I believe it's Holly, isn't it, who was the person that believed in you, and you took comfort in, and I believe she's still in your life now as well, still supporting, which is fantastic. So, since leaving rehab, what steps have you taken to obviously go into youth custody?
So basically, when I left the rehab, I went to start going to a church, but then they had a youth centre there, a youth church, and then they asked me, did I want to be a youth volunteer, youth worker? So I said, yeah, go on then. And then whilst I was there, I started volunteering for the youth, and I was just like, you know what, I want to do this, yeah. And you know, I got a big passion for it then, because I just thought, you know what, I don't want the kids to go through what I did back then, you know. So they actually paid for me to go through a youth course, and I qualified as a youth worker. And then from that extended to me going into schools and youth clubs and other churches, just doing some prevention work and stuff, and it also led me to Rangebrook. And then, because they partnershiped up with the church that I was with, so I ended up doing some group work with the Rangebrook young people. And whilst I was there, I just like seeing what the staff were doing, and I just thought, oh, I want to help these young people. So I did go for a job there as a CCO, which I didn't want to do, because I don't want to lock kids up, because I've just been locked up with them myself. But I wanted just to talk there and just get in there somehow and talk to them. But they said no, but we're using another capacity. So I said, okay. So I had to wait 2 years, and the people were like, they're just messing me around. But I knew in my heart, I said, no, you know what, I'm not giving up. And I just kept fighting and waiting and phoning. And then they finally said, yeah, well, you guys, YJB, said, yeah, they got let me in. And then they said I could go in there twice a week for a few hours. So I went in there for twice a week for a few hours for the next 2 years. Well, a year and a bit, nearly 2 years. And then MTC Novo took over the company. And then I met Stuart. And when he took over, I looked at him, I was like, I know you. And I couldn't picture where first. But then we had a chat, and the man used to lock me up in Winston Green. He was an officer, and he did give me a job, and he gave me a cleaning job. So yeah, it's just mad how that all come to pass. And then basically now, you know, he gave me a job, and he's put his trust in me, and he's given me a full-time position since April this year as resettlement lead mentor.
Thanks, Marlon. And so, with all your past experiences, what benefits do you think you bring to the young people at Rangebrook?
I just think my life, like, just show to them, like, no matter what you've gone through or been through, that, you know what, if you put the work in and just look for help, you can change your life around, and you don't have to live in that life. Do you know what I mean? If you just start trusting in a few people, do you know what I mean? And just being me, and just me in itself, like giving them hope. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what, our next concert's had all this happened to him. He's got a horrible, horrendous CV or whatever. It just, yeah, gives them hope.
I think it's a DBS, not a CV.
DBS, yes.
Yeah, it is long. So, if you could give one message to people in the audience today, what would that be, Marlon?
Don't give up. Be someone's Holly out there, do you know what I mean? Just don't give up, because I know it can be sometimes thankless and hard for you, do you know what I mean? And, you know, just never give up on them, you know, just, you know, look at me 10 years on, but I'm here now, so that and you could help another me, you know? Also, just be brave and take, you know, just take opportunities and doing different things and taking risks in stuff, do you know what I mean, with other organisations and the stuff that you're doing. Just take risks and what else? Listen to the young people, because they know what they know what works for them. They know, you know, well, half the time, but just listen to what they've got to say. Listen to their voice, you know, because they know what it's about. And then for the final one, just like give people like myself, you know, like Harley and other people, the opportunity to work within your organisations, because, you know, we have got something to offer. Yeah, we've got a criminal record, but, you know, if they really want it and they want it and they're showing change, give them a chance, man. You know, what's there to lose, you know?
Thanks, Marlon. And I think it's fair to say times have changed. I remember chasing Marlon around B-Wing on Birmingham on numerous occasions, and now Marlon chases me around the centre to remind me of what I should be doing, which is great. I mean, for me, you know, the work that you do at Rangebrook is invaluable. You know, every day you make me proud. You know, and I think it's nice to see you getting recognised now for awards, and I know you've been shortlisted for a national award and as well as an award within the organisation. So from me, I just want to say thank you.